Welcome to Rockstar Doctor Life. I'm Alyssa Longo, and each episode, my guests and I will bring you fresh, fun ways to rock your life as a health professional and create a business that aligns with who you are and the life you want to live. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome to the first show of 2022. Something special is in your ears today. I have invited a variety of people to contribute to this kickoff show of the year. As much as I love having the deep dive conversations that I've had with my guests and exploring who they are and what makes their life successful and what struggles they've had, I also love the idea of focusing on one topic and inviting some other people to come in and share. And that is what I've done in the past. If you haven't listened to any of the other compilation shows, I will be sure to put them in the show notes. But the question that I posed to all the guests for this kickoff show was, what is one thing you want everyone to know for 2022? And this might be, some of these guests are coaching people. Some of these guests have struggled, in different areas of their life and business over their lifetime, and they've learned from their experience. Some of these docs have certainly had powerful relationships with people in their lives that has informed their skill set. So I wanted to make sure that we covered people that are going to help you expand your mindset, your relationships, your health, your marketing, your diversification, possibly expanding a little bit online. We've got a really great list of guests here. Now, some of these guests were certainly memorable to me. They were people who touched my heart in the conversations that we've had. Some of these guests were among the most downloaded episodes we've had. Some of these guests I just knew had a special gift to bring as I observe them and I'm watching what they're going through and how they're navigating their life and challenges. Some of these guests made me laugh a ton and I wanted to have them come back. Some of these guests have certain expertise in areas of life and business that I wanted to make sure we did not overlook. If you've been following the show, if you've been listening to anything I've been talking about for the last 5 years, a big part of the Rockstar Doctor Life Manifesto is remembering that you are a whole person and giving time and attention to all the areas of your life that matter to you. So your health, your mindset, your emotional well-being, your business growth, your practice relationships. You being an amazing practitioner and amazing business owner is only one part of who you are. So I wanted to make sure that we covered all the other aspects of what it takes to be a healthy, badass human. As one of the guests, Dr. Stephen Franson, said, the whole goal for 2022 should be to just be a more badass human being. And that's certainly what I believe all these guests are going to help you with as we kick off this new year. So as we go through the guests, they're going to be speaking in order. Many of them included their names. I have listed in the show notes all the guests in order of appearance, and there's definitely links to reach out and connect with them if you want to just stay in touch with them on social media, or you really love what they have to say and you want to check out their programs. Please be sure to go and give them some love and reach out to them and thank them for anything that really resonated with you today. But now, before we get to what they had to say, I thought I would share with you my biggest wish for 2022, for you, for me, for all of humanity. And that is for all of us to have a little bit more focus. If you've been paying attention to the stuff I've been sharing recently, I've been talking a lot about focus. And that is because over my last few years of coaching, and likely in my personal life, I've noticed that when things don't go as planned, it really comes down to a lack of focus on what matters in that moment, a lack of focus on the different areas of your life. Now, when I talk about focus, I'm not talking about productivity and getting really task specific and giving you tactics and tools to really help you get more shit done. We can talk about that too. And in fact, there's other episodes I've covered that. What I'm talking about with focus is your ability to really identify what you want to focus on in your family life, in your health, in your business, whatever the business of healthcare you are in a brick and mortar practice, expanding online, some kind of combination of both. But I also want you to remember that your focus needs to shift as you give time and attention wherever it is needed. Sometimes our business requires a lot of energy from us. If you're just growing, if you're going through a restructuring, if you're expanding your team, new systems in place, sometimes our energy has to be a little higher there because that is work that we love and matters to us. Other times, things in our personal life absolutely take precedent and our focus has to be directed there. Maybe something that your children are going through, maybe something that your relationship is going through, maybe your health is needing a little bit more time and attention. we can't focus on everything at the simultaneous time, right? That idea about balance, you've heard me say, is bullshit. But we can absolutely make sure that we are giving adequate focus and time and energy to the different places in the priority that they need at any given time. And, what I've definitely observed between my private clients, coaching clients over the last few years, the group programs that I've run, even the docs that I have coached, working with Dr. Ed Osborne and Dr. Jason and Dr. Jay in the Virtual Practice Academy in Inner Circle, those doctors looking to expand their influence in a virtual market. It all comes down to consistent focus on what matters. And I get it. Our lives are full. We have a lot of different demands on our time. And sometimes you're so excited and so passionate about all these things that it's really hard to focus on which area matters. And it's really hard to focus on what the right next action steps are. It's really hard to focus in those times on what really matters to you and give priority to the other areas of your life. And sometimes it's doctors also forgetting who they really are. They're trying to build something that really doesn't fit with them. They're trying to build a branding or messaging or create content in a way that doesn't really fit who they are. So when I talk about focus, I know I'm covering a lot of different areas. And in fact, this is a big part of my focus right now because I have a new program coming January 17th called the Focus Formula, where we dive into all these areas. I've taken all the areas that I've coached on in the last 5 years, from business development, content marketing and messaging, branding, lifestyle design, mindset, business foundations, simplification. I put it all into one solid system to take doctors through a 3-month program where we're going to start with clarity. We're going to focus on orienting yourself. We're going to build your communications. We're going to build your branding, and we're going to put it all together in a system that really works with who you are. So focus is on my mind a lot these days, but for you, I want you to make sure that you pick one area, right? Set some intentional goals, set some focus on your family life, on your health, on your business, and then understand that your priority is going to shift and your focus is going to shift in line with those areas. But when you're aligned with your life and your purpose, things don't typically seem stressful. They don't seem like work. So give yourself some grace and understand that as long as you're aligned with where you need to be, things are going to flow. And even those difficult moments tend to bring out some other, I know it sounds cliched and cheesy, but those difficult times tend to bring us through some transitions into a better place. So focus on that, find your focus on what matters, and find a way to bring it all together. If you need help, there's plenty of amazing doctors you're going to hear from in the next, time of this podcast. Certainly reach out, check out the Focus Formula and the trainings that we have coming up. I'd love to help you. But in any event, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your words of encouragement. Thank you so much for sharing the show. Thank you for still being here, almost 170 shows later. I'm very blessed to have had all these relationships and these conversations and to have your support and to know that these conversations make a difference in your life and help you focus on what matters moving forward. So enjoy the rest of the show, guys. Happiest of 2022s, and we'll see you soon.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Michael Viscarelli from beautiful Golden, Colorado. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity just to share for a moment with you guys as we're heading into 2022. We've been on a heck of a run down here in the States and up in Canada. I know it's been challenging. I know we have faced some significant challenges that we have all overcome with small victories over time and just staying focused on the greater goal. And that is my objective going into 2022, is refocusing on how we strengthen our core in our practice. What can we do to really build our core? The biggest thing that I notice is the people that love our message, that love our values, that stand for the principle, have stayed with us, have dug in deeper in our practices, have referred more, have stood in the gap with us as we face so many of these challenges. Our biggest focus going into 2022 is the exceptional practice member experience. What can we do to enhance their experience in these troubling times? What can we do to make our practices a sanctuary for these families? Where can they come to the source, the well of knowledge for answers when it comes to their health, where they want to resist against what maybe the media is telling them, what public health people are telling them in their communities, from what they're hearing on the news? Where can they come for the truth? And that is what we've been focusing on as we ramp up for 2022. We want to help our practice members acclimate to these like evolving messages, these confusing messages that they're hearing all over social media, in conversation with their friends and their family members, where we can help them acclimate to the vitalistic lifestyle, where they can help acclimate to saying yes to care in our practice for not just them, but for their entire family, for giving them an experience that leaves them in awe when they leave here with such certainty and confidence every time they leave the four walls of our practice. Helping them acclimate will increase retention in our practice, increase internal referrals, where we are sending them out and they're bringing in their loved ones, their family members, their friends, their community members that they have influence in, where we can help build our tribe here in our practices, our chiropractic facilities, build our following, expand our territory and our borders, where they come for a clear, very confident, concise message that helps them move forward with certainty for care of not only their health, but their entire family and all of their friends. So I hope you guys refocus going in 2022, strengthen your core in your practice, strengthen those, sow into those people that have said yes and continually say yes to your care, and to those that will be coming in your front door seeking a new alternative, a new message, a new certainty for their health and their bodies. God bless and good luck in 2022.
Thank you for having me. My name is Dr. Ryan P. Doyle, and I am the head coach, co-owner of the Men and Women of Iron coaching system. And I was asked to share what I think that things that I think doctors would benefit from in the year coming up. And I guess the docs that I'm really speaking to are ones that are either experiencing overwhelm, burnout, or you just find like you're running on the treadmill and just have lost that to get where you want to go, or just lost the clarity of where it is that you're really wanting to go, but know that there's so much more for you. So let me explain just in a simple and succinct way as I can. I'm just going to share my screen. This is what I would like. I would have loved to have learned back in when I was starting out, because again, when I was going through practice, there's so much focus just on business that you forget about your family and connection, and then your health fluctuates up and down because you're overloaded. And then what the hell is this fulfillment piece? I want you to consider that if you could invest and make deposits into each of those things equally, it's amazing to see how they'll all grow with a foundation of effort. The problem is that if you're here at A and B is where you want all of these things to be, the fastest way is this way. But so many of us have lost the clarity of what that little island is. So we just tolerate the treadmill that we're on. And then we fluctuate so much between all the shit that's going on in life, pardon my language, between the negative, overwhelming chaos to the goods, the bads. Yeah, and this is where we spend our life. We don't get any further towards this island we'll call B. So I want you to consider just a couple things. If you're listening to this and this is resonating with you, to narrow your focus a little bit. So number one is simple, daily, consistent habits for your body, fulfillment, your relationships, and your business. I just wish I'd learned that a long time ago, because it sounds really easy, but applying it is just so necessary. When we don't have the habits for all these things, one of them will light a fire and then it'll crash the other ones. So keep it simple, but strategize so that you can get something in each of those buckets on a daily basis. Number two is, in order to go to B, we have to have some clarity on what it is. So number two is we're going to narrow our focus a little bit by getting really, really clear on our mission that is aligned with our values. Sorry for my scribble here. so that our bucket gets filled as we're going and doing it, but it narrows your focus so you're not distracted. Like, how many things are we distracted by? COVID, weather, chaos in other people's life, drama, blah blah blah. Got in there, like, every day when we're scattered by things or we're experiencing some sort of emotional reaction, being able to narrow those things and having the tools with which to stay focused on those things are massive. Last but not least, having a tool to focus on a weekly basis on our targets. So 3 is figuring out what are the targets or the benchmarks that are going to get us closer every quarter to our island over here, and each week using skills and tools to focus on 1 to 2 things that we get done, so that God, my scribble is horrible, so that we can move towards these things are absolutely critical. But again, it's this narrowing of our focus. It's this kind of a process so that we're investing our energy here and getting closer and closer to what it is that we want. This is just not something that I was really ever taught. And as much as I'm well organized within my athletic career and within my business career, I would find that one of these other things would fall apart as I was going along. So my lesson, my mission, our mission statement here at Men and Women of Iron is to help the professionals move from like that survival stage to thriving, creating a habit-based lifestyle that we call the Freedom Formula process. There's skills and tools that I'm happy to share with you. You can hop into our Facebook group. We teach these. All the downloads are free. The work is free. The accountability of doing the work, I find is kind of a necessary part. So if you ever want a little bit of assistance, just ping me. I'm happy to give you a little bit of assistance with moving forwards if you're just not getting to this island that balances your business, your family and connection, your overall health, and filling your cup up at the exact same time. There's a couple of skills and tools that I think I wish that I had been shown a long time ago. Anyway, that's all I got. Hope that's helpful.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be part of this project. I'm Dr. Naeema, and I have owned my own practice for 4.5 years. And when I started out on this entrepreneurship journey, I wish that I would have known one thing. And I'm going to share it with you all today, and I hope that it brings some value to you. My life's mission is to leave people and things better than how I found them. And I hope that this little jewel helps you along your journey. And it's simply this: be kind to yourself. Give yourself a tremendous amount of grace, because however you choose to practice, whether it's solo, whether it's in a partnership, whether you're an associate, giving yourself grace and allowing yourself the space to make mistakes and to be brave and courageous and willing to venture into the unknown is a gift that is priceless that you give yourself. Being kind to yourself, saying kind things to yourself is also invaluable. It's what you would do for your best friend if she asked you for your advice. And the lessons that you learn along this journey are things that you didn't know before, and you earn them. I believe that worthiness and self-esteem are an inside job. We build our confidence by keeping our word to ourselves. We start with the little things. We make a promise to ourselves that we're going to get up earlier, we're going to drink more water, that we're going to go talk to 10 people that week and tell them what we do and how we serve our community. All of those times that you keep your word to yourself, you're building your own self-esteem, your own worthiness. And in that confidence that you generate every time you keep your word to yourself, is something that you have earned that no one can take from you. The beauty about building things for you, for yourself, for the betterment of yourself, means that you can go out and serve your community from a place of abundance. So my hope today is that you take that jewel and you tuck it into your pocket and you remember at every turn, give yourself grace.
Hey, Rockstar Doctors. My name is Dr. Jeff Langmaid with the Smart Chiropractor and the Evidence-Based Chiropractor, and I want to thank so much Dr. Melissa for having me on and talking a little bit about my thoughts on how you can kick off 2022 in a big way for your practice. And I am going to throw out the concept that you can, should, and need to think about how can you build recurring revenue in your practice in 2022. I know all of us as chiropractors love taking care of and serving people with our hands-on care, but I want to encourage you to think about how can you diversify your income streams? How can you have what we call a payday practice, where your expenses are met with recurring revenue the first of each and every month. The bottom line is, whether you have hundreds or thousands of patients, you are an influencer to those individuals. And the question I have is, have you made it easy via an online store and with the content you're putting out for people to purchase products on a subscribe and save basis from you? I know we've all been asked questions and probably are each and every day. What is your favorite blank? We end up taking 10 minutes describing something on Amazon. Patient comes back with the wrong item or it's suboptimal at best, and we're sitting there scratching our heads. So one big thing that we are focused on is creating those store systems and e-commerce systems for you in 2022. But regardless of which direction you want to go with your e-commerce or online store, please think about how you can create recurring revenue to increase your revenue, to decrease your stress. Imagine having your monthly expenses covered on the first of each month. And then finally, to serve your patients at the highest level. How much better would it be when a patient comes in and asks, what blank should I purchase? Instead of taking 10 minutes describing it on Amazon, you take 2 seconds and say, great question. We have my favorite blank available in my online store right now, and they'll drop ship it right to you. So a couple key components to keep in mind as you begin to explore how can you have an online store that generates recurring revenue. You ideally want to have items drop ship your patients so you don't need to keep inventory. You definitely want to have your own store system so you retain the patient and you retain the information. You're not giving it out to somebody else, and you want to make it as easy as possible with your marketing and promotions to showcase and highlight those things you have in your store that can benefit your patient. So 2022 is all about having a payday practice and recurring revenue. Rockstar Doctors, get out there, have fun with it. And you have any questions, you know where to find me. I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid. Thank you, Dr. Melissa, for having me. And let's make a great 2022 for all chiropractors out there. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, Rockstar Doctors. This is Dr. Carolyn Griffin from Santa Clarita, California. As we look at the new year in 2022, some of the things that I was thinking about as I was writing down my goals leading into this next year of what we need to do in my particular practice to pivot and to see how we're going to continue to grow. One of the revelations that I ended up having was that it seems like most of the docs that I speak to, we've all grown over the last year and a half. With even though we're in unprecedented times, it seems like most practices have actually thrived, which is fantastic. But here is a little bit of a problem that does tend to happen when we're doing really well. We tend to go into autopilot, or we stop thinking about what we can do to improve the practice because we're just in the day-to-day and serving everyone that's coming into the door. And so what happens is when we start to get into this mode of autopilot, other things start to fall through the cracks. And then over a period of time, if that continues for any amount of time, you create a leaky bucket, or the leaky bucket you might have becomes worse. So one of the things that I would suggest for all of us going into this new year is just kind of refocus on what we need to do. Start with the fundamentals, start with the basics of what it's going to take to continue this growth that we've all seen, and think about what we can do to make the patient experience that much better. A lot of the things that we like to do is focus on the day-to-day patient experience. What is their journey like as they enter our practice and they go through everything that we put them through on our day 1 and our day 2 and subsequent visits after that? What can we do to make their experience that much better? And if you think about it, with everything that's going on in the world, some people are being turned away at the door. Some people are, the situation with the world that we're living in, especially where I am in California, is, there's a lot of, we're not treated the best going into some businesses or certain businesses. And so what we do, and what I stress in our office is the patient is number one. Give them the best experience that they can have. What can we do to go above and beyond to make them feel happy, to make them feel like they are welcome in our office? And so that's one of the things that I would probably suggest for the rockstar doctors to kind of look at and focus on is, even though we're doing really well, we can always do better. And what can we do to make our patients feel that much more welcome in these uncertain times? What can we do to make them feel calm and comfortable when they walk into the office, instead of this high stress that we're always living in? And what can we do to make them feel at ease? So that's my suggestion. And hopefully, you can brainstorm with your team and think about what you can do to not only make their experience super great, but to also make them feel comfortable and calm and at ease when they do step into your practice. Hope you're having a great day, you guys. Talk to you soon.
What's up, rock stars? Hey, it's Dr. Stephen Franson from The Remarkable Practice. I'm here to wish you a happy end of 2021 and an awesome beginning to 2022. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If you're like me, you're just ready. You're just so excited for an awesome 2022. I'm fully expecting it's just going to be an awesome year ahead. It's time for chiropractic to step up, step in, lean in, and be bold and profess the truth. Now's the time to fill the gap. There's a huge void that's been left by the media, by the government, by modern medicine. This is our opportunity to step in and share the truth, right? So the truth is, it's not about fearing a badass virus. It's about focusing on being a badass human being. So rock stars, remind your patients and remind your team, and maybe remind yourself, you're a badass human being, right? So God bless. Have an awesome 2022.
What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Christy Wick, founder and head coach of the Illuminated Squad, which is an exclusive coaching community for female chiropractors. And this little quick tip for 2022 honestly has to do with going inward instead of consistently looking externally for answers. So if you have been frustrated by either lack of growth or slower growth in practice than what you would like, and maybe at this time of year, every year, you're setting big, audacious goals and you just are so perplexed as to why you're not reaching them, or you're not reaching them fast enough, my suggestion would be to stop setting such goals and really just realign and focus only on the stats that are very connected to internal processes and systems in your practice. So setting goals around retention, or your initial conversion, or your conversion to wellness, or even just what percentage of the time are you giving an authentic care plan, the care plan that you think the patient actually needs. When you focus on those internal stats, it forces you to focus on what actually creates growth, which is processes, systems, mindset, getting every little piece of the practice inside right. And when that happens, you will be floored at how fast the growth goes. But it takes that first step of going against the grain and not setting a big revenue goal, not setting a big new patient goal for the year, and instead change your mind, change your strategy, and focus on the stats that matter from the inside out. Have a great 2022.
Hey, Rockstar Doc. What's up? My name's Dr. Naeema Ramani, and when Melissa asked me to put this little audio clip together on what you can really focus on to make your 2022 a much more impactful year, more expansive year, I had to come up with the two skill sets that really transformed everything in not only my career, but also my personal life. These two skills that we never really learn growing up, never really learn in school, never really understand how important they are to our personal and business relationships, but here they are. Skill number one you're going to really want to keep in mind to master is the ability to autonomically regulate our nervous systems. See, in times of change, the learners shall inherit the earth, while the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped for a world that does not exist. Eric Hoffer said that. He said, in times of change, the learners shall inherit the earth, while the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped for a world that does not exist. In other words, as leaders, it is incumbent upon us to consistently upgrade our mindsets and skill sets to learn skills that are soft skills in leadership. It's not just hard skills, but in this new times of change, especially with a community around us, a world, a collective around us that is at the effect of a lot of intergenerational trauma and, collective trauma based on how everybody's been kind of responding to the pandemic. There's a lot of trauma floating around. And so the ability for us to autonomically regulate by taking our triggers that come up at work, within our family dynamics, with our children, and to learn how to take these triggers instead of having them run our lives, how to have them become portals and access points to deeper self-trust, to deeper connection with ourselves. Whenever we get triggered, we dissociate from ourselves. So the skill set of learning how to take these triggers and autonomically regulate ourselves is going to be probably one of the most important skills that we've never learned, skills that we must learn if we want to have a more impactful 2022. The second skill that I'm inviting you to really look at is the skill of taking conflict that happens in interpersonal relationships and turning that conflict, instead of having these conflicts rip us apart, rip our relationships apart with our clients, our family members, to learn how to take these conflicts and actually turn them into deeper intimacy, which is not possible if we haven't learned skill number one, which is autonomically regulating ourselves. But then after we've learned that skill and mastered that skill, to take the conflicts that will happen when any two people are in a relationship with one another, and to turn those conflicts into deeper intimacy. When we get that right, we're no longer avoiding conflict. We're no longer hiding our truth so that we can kind of please and appease. Pardon me. It's a tongue twister there. So in times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped for a world that does not exist. And it is in my humble opinion that the two skills of learning how to self-regulate our autonomic nervous system and how to take conflict and turn it into deeper intimacy, if we learn how to do that, then the sky's the limit, because people suck. And yet we need people in order to have fulfilling lives. Let me know if that resonated with you, and I'll see you hopefully at the next perfect time. Have an amazing 2022.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. Find out more about today's guests and everything else that we talked about in the show notes. You can also find all this content and so much more, including videos, blog posts, and how you can work with me on the Rockstar Doctor Life website. If you haven't yet reviewed the show, we'd love it if you headed on over to iTunes, subscribe, and leave us a review about what your thoughts are about future episodes for the show and what you like best. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram at Melissa Longo DC, and of course on Facebook. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time.